sometimes I get asked, Dustin, why do you work on your own cars? You could afford to pay a mechanic to work on your cars. And you know, they're right. I probably could take it to a mechanic, and I have enough money to pay a guy to come fix my car, and he's a professional, I'm sure that they would do a great job. But the problem is, I just don't trust anyone else. I like to do it my way, and that way when it doesn't work, I can fix it when I need to. When I take it to a mechanic, I don't learn anything. All I learn is to pay someone else to do it. And so I prefer to know how my car works, so that in the event that I'm broke down, I know how to solve the problem. Now on this day here, my wife came to me. It was the middle of winter, of course, right around Christmas. And our grocery together, my wife's car, the four-wheel drive hasn't been working. Not want to shift into four-wheel drive. You know me, I get on the internet, do a little research. There's only a couple of solutions. It could be the front axle actuator or the transfer case drive. Today we're going to get the Tahoe up in the air, take a look underneath. They're not expensive items. I think it's $85 for the front axle actuator, maybe another $150 for the transfer case motor. So we're gonna just buy some parts, try the cheap one first. If that doesn't work, do the more expensive unit. I might have to spend a handful of hours working on my wife's car out in the barn in the middle of winter. But it's also another way for me to unwind and let my mind get away from all the worries and the work. Just focus on a simple task like this. So if you have a Tahoe, or if you're interested in learning to work on cars, not from a mechanic's perspective, but just from the average guy, please watch along here and see if this might help you guys out.
Well, as you can see there, four-wheel drive's not working. It's stuck in 4 high. At least that's what it tells you. It's actually not in four-wheel drive. It just thinks it is. There's two things it could be. It could be the front axle actuator, or it could be the transfer case electric motor that switches it from 2 to 4. First thing we're going to do, though, is check the fuses and make sure we don't have something simple going on here. Let's take a look at the fuses.
We look under the fuse panel under the hood, and it looks like there's not a four-wheel drive fuse. So we go in the car and look at the other panel, and we do find a fuse labeled four-wheel drive. We'll grab our 12-volt tester, do a little testing on each side of the fuse, and it appears that the fuse is working. So the first thing we're going to do is crawl into the car and try and replace the front axle actuator, as I'm not a mechanic and not exactly sure how to test this particular unit. It's rather simple to pull off. You just unplug it, unscrew it, it threads right out of the axle tube there. And this is actually the part that engages the four-wheel drive when you have it in the auto four-wheel drive setting. Pulled it out. Take a look at the new one here. New one looks just like it. Swung up by my local O'Reilly's Auto Parts store and picked one up for about $85. Little Teflon tape. Thread that bad boy back in there. And once we get her all tightened down, we'll hook that electrical connection up. Make sure that we got it nice and snug so we don't get no water in there. Then we'll crawl in the car here and hit the four-wheel drive button again and see if we can't get it to shift out of four-wheel drive. And negative, Ghost Rider.
All right, well, I replaced the front actuator up there. That wasn't it. $85 experiment. It is this guy right here, which is connected to this, which is actually what shifts the transfer case from two-wheel drive to four-wheel drive. When I push the two-wheel drive button, I can feel it moving, or I can feel something happening, but it's definitely not enough to actually shift it into four-wheel drive. So in order to pull that, you got to remove the front drive shaft. So that's what we're gonna do. Yay! So to start with, we got to pull the bolts off the front here. We got 1, 2, and then there's 2 up top here. Pull them off. We can slide this shaft down and out. In order to get this apart, I got to cut that clamp, slide the boot back, and then this yoke will slide out. Took me a minute to figure that out, so now I'm going to cut this to mark a yoke location on the transfer case. So I'll make sure I slide it back together at this right angle because it's a spline shaft. So hopefully that works out. Let's see here. So on the particular model of Tahoe that I have, it has electronic four-wheel drive. And so the push button shifting action is controlled by an electric motor. And in this case, our Tahoe that I'm working on here has about 130,000 miles or so on it. And that electric motor has had enough work in its lifetime. So we're going to unbolt it from the side of the transfer case here. It's got 3 simple bolts holding it on. You can see I had to use a fairly large ratchet to get them off. They weren't on there that hard though. And once you get those out, the whole unit has a plug on top that you have to detach, and then you can pull that bad boy out, take the gasket off the existing one, put it on the new one, and then get that sucker reinstalled pretty much in the reverse order of how you took it out. You really got to pay attention to the orientation of the drive motor gear where it slides onto a shaft that comes out the side of the transfer case. So as long as that's orientated correctly, slide it back on there, tighten your bolts back up, and hope that this is gonna solve our problem here. I always tighten all my bolts down too, and then come back and just snug them up and make sure that they're all nice and tight. All right, let's see here. I got the wire hooked up. I got this thing bolted on. Push 4 high. What's it?
Got 4 high.
Now put it on 2 high.
It's on 2 high.
Perfect. Now all we got left to do is slide the drive shaft back into the transfer case there and make sure that I got it lined up correctly. Tighten up them bolts on the front drive shaft, which can be challenging.
Well, that wasn't too hard. A couple, 3 or 4 hours of time one night, and maybe $300 for the parts. Got her back on the road. The good thing was it was around Christmas time, and it would have been almost impossible to get this thing into a shop and get it fixed in a timely manner. And you know, the roads aren't exactly the nicest, so the four-wheel drive comes in handy this time of year. So a little bit of trial and error, spent a little bit of time, got her fixed and back on the road. Everyone's happy. Thanks for watching along. If you want to see more videos like this, hit the like and subscribe button for me. Till next time, have a good one.